Hi there. So this video is the third in a series of 3 on breakout rooms, and this video will go into how to move students into and out of breakout rooms. So there's a couple of different ways you can move students in and out of breakout rooms. In the settings, when you set the breakout rooms up, you can choose to move them all across evenly across the breakout rooms, but for the purposes of these team coaching sessions, we'd prefer that you move them manually. So those options are selected as per the video one on setting up the breakout rooms. So if you're looking to move an individual into a breakout room, you can see here that all the participants in the current session are in this main room. So let's say we want to move Heather into this 7 p.m. breakout room. We hover our mouse over her name, we right click on that. We scroll down and click on Center Breakout Room and click on the appropriate breakout room. So we chose the 7 p.m. session for her to go into, and you can see it's moved her from this list down into this list of the 7 p.m. breakout room. If you then want to move her back for some reason, you can do the same thing by right clicking, which will bring up this menu here, scrolling down, clicking on the main room, and that will flick her back into that main room. So I mentioned the other option is a group move. So let's say, for example, all the people in this main room are to go into a breakout room. You can click on the first one, so that's left click on the top person, hold down the shift key and click on the bottom person, which will highlight them all. So that's while you're holding the shift button down. Then right click and the same message comes up, the same menu option comes up. You can choose to select the breakout room you want to move them into. And you can see there that we've been moved into a fresh breakout room, including myself, where you can load slides and content and talk in there. Now, a couple of things to mention about that. You cannot record the content of what occurs inside a breakout room. So there'll be no recording available for what happens in there. Also, anything that happens in this chat box here happens for the whole session. So everyone in any breakout rooms or in the main room can actually see that chat box. So it is preferable for students and the ELA to use the microphone wherever possible. Otherwise, for example, if you have students in the main room waiting to come into their session after the current group, they'll be seeing all these messages and things going on here. So it is best to use a microphone wherever possible. And also then that necessitates having to use the normal microphone conventions where we, for example, get the students to raise their hand, to take turns with the microphone, and then for somebody, preferably the ELA, to be handing that microphone over to the next person. So it may be necessary to go through some of those conventions just at the start of the session to help it run more effectively. There is an option for participants to move themselves, and if you click on the Tools menu and then click on, hover over the Breakout button, you can see here this option to allow participants to move themselves to breakout room. If you tick that, that means any participants in the session can move themselves in and out of breakout rooms. At this stage, we prefer not to use that because you want to have control over when students move and where they move to. So hopefully that's been useful, and to move those students back to the main room is just the reverse of the previous procedure. Now, let's say your session finishes and you want to move a group of students out, or your next group of students is moving in. They're waiting for you in the main room. As you can see, Samara is waiting in the main room here for the next session. You may give the students the option to continue talking if you like. So by the group move function, clicking on the first one, clicking on the last one while holding the shift button down, right click, center breakout room, we can move those students into the next breakout room available. You can then go to this other student and move them into this breakout room with you. So that's an effective way of just moving students in and out. But if, for example, those students have left the session, they're not talking, you can actually remove them from the session altogether. And I'll demonstrate just with Heather here. So if you right click on her name, scroll down, you can click on this remove participant button, and you'll see it gives you the option to make sure that you want to remove that person. Click on the button and you can see Heather's been removed from the list. So essentially what you're doing is kicking them out of the session. So that may be necessary if, for example, their session's well and truly finished and they've walked away from their computer but are still logged in. So it can just help clean things up a little bit. Preferably we'd try for students to remove themselves from the session, but if that is necessary, that's the way to do it. So hopefully this video has been useful. If you have any other queries, please contact your teaching coach.